Hi. Today's story is by Donaldson. It's called The Smartest Giant in Town. Now, today's story is full of rhyming words. See if you can hear any of the words that rhyme. George was a giant, the scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals and some old patched up gown. "I wish I wasn't the scruffiest giant in town," he said sadly. What does scruffiest mean? Have a think. But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes, so he bought a smart shirt, a smart pair of trousers, a smart belt, a smart stripy tie, some smart socks with diamonds on the side, and a smart pair of shiny black shoes. "Now I'm the smartest giant in town," he said. How many things did he buy? Shirt, trousers, belt, tie, socks and shoes. 6 things. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. On the pavement stood a giraffe who was sniffing sadly. "What's the matter?" said George. "It's my neck," said the giraffe. "It's so very long and so very cold. I wish I had a warm scarf." How can George help the giraffe? What could he use as a scarf? "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his stripy tie. "It didn't match my socks anyway," he said, and he wrapped it around the giraffe's neck. It made a wonderful scarf. "Thank you," said the giraffe. As George strode away, he sang to himself, "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, but look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a river. On a boat stood a goat who was bleating loudly. "What's the matter?" said George. "It's my sail," said the goat. "It's blown away in the storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat." Poor goat. His sail's blown away. "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his new white shirt. It kept coming untucked anyway, he said, as he tried to tie the mast to the boat's goat. He made a magnificent sail. "Thank you," said the goat. George strode on, singing to himself, "My tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat for a sail as a goat, but look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." George came to a tiny, ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with a lot of baby mice. They were all squeaking. "What's the matter?" said George. "It's our house," squeaked the mother mouse. "It burned down, and now we have nowhere to live. I wish I had a nice new house." Ooh. How can the giant help the mice? What can they use as a house? "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. "It was giving me blisters anyway," he said. And the mouse and her babies scrambled inside. The shoe made a perfect home. "Thank you," they squeaked. George had to hop along the road now, but he didn't mind. As he hopped, he sang to himself, "My tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat, my shoe is a house for a little white mouse. but look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox, who was crying. "What's the matter?" said George. "Oh, it's my sleeping bag," said the fox. "I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag." "Cheer up," said George, and took off one of his socks with diamonds on the side. "They were tickling my toes anyway," he said, and the fox snuggled inside. It made a very fine sleeping bag. "Thank you," said the fox. George hopped on, singing to himself. Can you join in? "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. But look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town." Is he still the smartest giant in town? George came to a big, squelchy bog. Beside the bog stood a dog, who was howling. "What's the matter?" said George. "Oh, it's my bog," said the dog. "I can't get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a path for me to cross." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his smart new belt. "It was squashing my tummy anyway," he said. "Thank you," said the dog. The wind started to blow, and George didn't mind. He was hopping along, singing to himself. "My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. My belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. But..." Is he the smartest giant in town? "My trousers keep falling down. I'm the coldest giant in town." Oh dear. Suddenly, George felt sad and shivery and not very smart at all. He stood on one foot and thought, "I'll have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes," he decided. He turned around and hopped all the way back to the shop. But when he got there, the shop was closed. "Oh no," cried George. He sank down on the floor, and a tear rolled down his nose. He felt as sad as the animals that had helped along the way. Then, out the corner of his eye, he saw a bag of something familiar. George took a closer look. "My gown!" he yelled. "My dear old gown and sandals!" George put them on. He felt wonderfully comfortable. "I'm the cosiest giant in town," he cried, and he danced all the way back down the road. Outside his front door stood all the animals he'd helped. They were carrying an enormous present. "Come on, George, open it." George untied the ribbon. Inside was a beautiful gold paper crown and a card. "Look inside the card, George," said the animals. George put the crown on his head and opened the card. Inside it said, "Your tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. Your shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with your sandals and gown, 'cause you are the kindest giant in town." How wonderful, how lovely and Kendrick kind. He was a lovely giant who wanted nothing better than to help people. In the end, he felt good and the animals felt good. What a lovely story. Thank you very much. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Bye.